During his time, as I was going through this study, and I ended up coining a new word: chaosmatics. Chaosmatics. So what do I mean by that? No, during his time, during what's his name? Noah's time, there were chaosmatics or charisprobra, in addition to a heavy demonic influence that marred and also twisted God's natural order at the time. What do I mean? There were people who were proclaiming false things. There were people who were misusing God's name. Practically, the demonic influence at the time. If you recall, last week we talked about what's his name, murderers like Lamech, the Lamech that came from Cain's lineage. He's the first what do you call it, the first polygamist, right? He was the one who was bragging, loud mouth and bragging and making a whole lot of noise. Well, I killed 2 people, and he don't fear wives. He had 2 wives. So we see the kind of lifestyle that was going on. So when the Bible says there was man's heart was filled with evil continually, this is one of the examples that the Bible gives us. And we also, of course, we all remember Cain. He had already killed his brother Abel, and look at how he talked back to God, right? Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? So we see the lifestyle that was going on while people like Enoch, and then of course Noah was alive. So people, and you can tell that at that time there were no real what I would call human governments. All right, or even if there was human government, there was limited ones, right? So what the Bible says, Romans 13, we have governments to restrain evil, right? But in the absence of government, everybody was doing their own thing. I mean, look at it. The book of Judges said, everybody did what was right in their own eyes. Why? Because there was no leadership at the time. The book of Judges, right? So it was the same thing that was happening right here during Noah's time. No human governments. And so people were doing whatever they wanted. And it appears to me that people went unpunished. Crimes went unpunished. People just did their own thing. Who are you to, that kind of thing? Who are you to tell me not to, or that, nobody was being held, people were not being held responsible. I mean, look at Lamech. Bragging, I killed 2 people. If anybody comes after me, like the Wild Wild West. Exactly. Wild Wild West is somebody looks at you the wrong way, you pull out the gun. Pop, pop. That's what's happening. No restraint, no check. People would do whatever they felt like doing. But then too, at the same time, here and there, a righteous man will pop up. Somebody like Seth or Enoch. They'll pop up every now and then. There were some righteous ones mingled in there. But by and large, human beings were living under the influence of demons and rebelling against God. I'm not saying that, I'm not making this up, because it's in the Bible. Genesis 6, the first 4 or 5 verses. See, these people were trying to be happy without God. They wanted to be God. Huh? And it's exactly what we see today. That is why you and I, we want to walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeem the time, because the days are evil. You see? So all this was going on. Meanwhile, what's his name? Methuselah, the man of the dark spirit javelin, the man called, the man whose name was, when he's dead, he shall come, or when he's dead, he shall be sent. The man called, he shall send his death, had been born, and his faithful day was approaching slowly. So, and people still didn't care. Like I said, I believe they were even making fun of the name Methuselah. I believe they were making fun of it. You see, but these God-fearing people in the land of Seth, they had their faith in God. And despite all that was going on around them, their focus was on God. Because Seth himself was God-fearing. That is why God bypassed Cain. That's why God favorably, graciously gave Adam and Eve another son, Seth, because Cain had killed Abel. See, so Seth's line is the God line. Last week we saw it. You trace it from Luke. Luke traced it from all the way from Jesus Christ back to God, back to Adam to God, right? So we knew there were some God-fearing people in the mix. And that is why Seth's line is called the godly line, right? But then too, when you go down Seth's godly line all the way down to Enoch, judgment was coming. And judgment at Enoch's age of 65 was only 69 years away when his son was Methuselah died. And so you see how long the warning went on. God's patience, God's mercy. He just, even though judgment was inevitable, right? God was patient and gave them enough time. Enough time. That's what God did. And today, God is doing the same thing for you and for me.